Well, I honestly thought after a certain bit that I wouldn't be bringing back the Tinfoil Matte channel, or at least doing another video on it. Well, and it turns out, due to something that was kind of began last night, that I'm bringing it back for at least a little bit. Because I kind of don't want this going up on my stupid spin channel for reasons that might be clear in a little bit, but I'm gonna, well, over here is better. I'm gonna tell a little story and then tell you about something that just happened on Twitter, and then kind of why that, why that all kind of matters to me. I hope I didn't just, anyway, why that all matters to me. So, the guy behind Tinfoil Matt and Stupid Spin and the Junk Channel and stuff, Matt Jensen, he's not going through good times right now, just to say it bluntly. So, last night I was in the middle of a lot of stuff. May not have been in the best frame of mind when I came across a story, because that's really all the internet is now, is just a bunch of story with slants and bias. Is internet is also a lot of cat pictures and a lot of pain and suffering too. But the story was about apparently this woman who likes to publicly shame and humiliate her sons for what is admittedly no other reason than they are male. They have penises. That's essentially what it was. Now, don't at me for all the male having a penis doesn't mean you're male. Okay, this is a separate issue than that. Whatever. And I did have the wherewithal to just simply not respond to that story at that time. Primarily because I wasn't in a good frame of mind. And, yeah. So I didn't respond to it at the time, but I kept thinking about how there's this certain recurring pattern going on. Now, I'll add in a little bit of other extra information here that by now I'm actually a pretty good fan of the namesake of where this channel came from, Mundane Matt, and he recently posited that there's a certain pattern among male feminists where they're all essentially rapists and abusers, and there's some pretty good evidence to that. And I see that there's some odd glare coming off of my tinfoil hat, because I had to make a new one. And I agree with Mundane Matt about that, but also there's this certain pattern among female feminists. And I know I'm being quite binary and heteronormative and cisgendered about it, when I'm talking about it this way, but there's also a very, very damning pattern among a lot of people who call themselves feminists, and you'll figure out why I phrased it like that in a bit. That pattern is essentially child abuse. And I tried to go a little bit deeper with that pattern, but there isn't anything really deeper to the pattern. Like, I tried to see if it was a single mother feminist abusing a child. Well, no, because it's also happening with attached mothers and whatnot, and other smaller ways that you can break it down. So I guess I just started paying attention to that. This could go a lot further back, but I want to say almost 6, 7 years ago. And if I find the link to this story, I'll include it in the description. If it is not in the description, don't at me about it. Don't make me go all mentions about it. But there's a story about a woman who was publicly denigrating her early teen son for looking up pornography on the internet. Now, this in and of itself would not be so uncommon, but why she was publicly denigrating him? And apparently it was because she could make him, recite backwards and forwards all over and over and over again major tenets of third-wave feminism and how, you should respect women and whatnot. And you definitely should respect anyone. So if they are a woman, they are a person, and you should respect them. So anyway, you should respect somebody until they've done something bad. But yeah, that's another contention entirely. Yeah, there was this story, and she could make the kid, recite all the stuff, saying, yeah, oh yeah, I totally believe in this film, but the kid still looked up porn. And so this woman with her son sought to publicly shame him over that. And how there was, by that point, there was a bunch of back and forth on the internet about it. I'm still trying to remember any names or identifying information about it, but that story kind of stuck with me, that you could just humiliate a kid like that, and nobody's going to go after you for it. That's another thing, is that parents of, I hate using this word, more traditional families can be arrested and put in prison for things like letting them go outside. But feminist parents of children who publicly, publicly do this kind of abuse on their children, they get nothing for it. It's very, very, very uncommon for them to get anything for it. So that one stuck with me, and then over the years since, which, it's actually been a fair bit of time since. I'm getting old. So, but, I keep seeing stories, like there was this one out in Atlanta, of all places, where it was pretty bad, and police were actually sent to this person's house, but then nothing came of it. And because, and that one, I think it was a boy and a girl. The girl was not receiving any psychological abuse, but the boy definitely was. So, yeah, and let's see, if I'm trying to remember any specific, well, anyway, yeah, that's not the point of this. The evidence is there, just for the sake of argument at least. But that evidence is there, so we come forward to today, where there's that story that I saw last night, and then also this morning saw people were still talking about it, which is natural if it's going to be something that people are going to be continuing to talk about. I may have liked and retweeted a story or something on Facebook or Twitter or whatnot, using the right terms for the right platforms, and then I left it alone, because you can't get involved in all the internet noise, and remain sane. I don't classify myself as completely sane, but you get the point. So, with that, I left it alone for a while, and then I see the same story come across my Tinfoil Matt account timeline again. Because I'm looking through that. I still maintain that account, on Twitter. However, I really only use it for one purpose, and that's really to communicate with a certain range of people that I still care to be in contact with. And I say something about it. And more to the point, I say something about the pattern that it is. And I leave it alone for probably a few minutes. I think I was checking up on a certain job prospect. Because, still, a dude like me is still chronically unemployed because, well, I need to get my crap together in life. Scarecrow comes back. He's one of the people that used to roll pretty frequently with the SSTs and whatnot. Man, I miss the SSTs. Those are fun times. I get why they don't happen anymore, but I miss doing that. Like, I really miss it. So, he responds with, well, not all feminists are like that. That's, all that jargon, and we get into a little bit of discussion about it, and and say that's either not and that's either not the actual pattern. That's pretty rare, which I disagree with, or and plus this feminism is many different things to many different people. Well, that I have a disagreement with in a couple vectors, and I might have already touched on it on Twitter by now. But the gist of what that is one, if feminism was so many different things to so many different people, then it wouldn't come across as more or less a uniform thing. Now, that's not to say that the feminists aren't arguing with each other. That'll happen with any group. So that's not really a point at all. Feminism, especially as it is titled third and fourth wave feminism, sometimes it's called intersectional feminism, or social justice or violent social justice, like Antifa or BAM or something. But it's essentially still more or less feminism. And feminism is the moniker that a lot of these very, how do I put it, unegalitarian things are self-described as. I'm very much for a libertarian or egalitarian point of view where, if you leave people alone and, you should be left alone kind of thing. It's deeper than that, but this is supposed to be a short YouTube video. But so I don't think that it's necessarily right to say that feminism is so many different things to so many different people when the current state of feminism is how it is. It's just simple. It's a lot more violent now, but it is what it is that, feminism isn't just this fractured thing. There are a lot of little splinters, yes, but it is mostly still the same homogenous thing where men are evil, cisgendered people are inherently evil. Being a cisgendered white male of approximately my age group, anywhere from 18 to 35, that is absolutely evil, and they should all die. And the thing is that people don't want to admit that that particular point of view is a lot more common among feminists than it actually is. People, well, at least then they say it is. That's the thing, is that people who I've never met, interacted with, never done anything to them or against them or against their group of people or tribe or creed, etc. People can think that I'm automatically evil and should die either a quick death or a slow, painful death, which, that one, that in and of itself is a sick argument among a lot of fourth wave feminists as well. It's just, not only should they die, but also the argument in how we should kill them. If you don't see the irony in that one. Wow. But, so here we have that, is that, well, yes, we can't use the argument that feminism is essentially a meaningless label, and then we continue to use it. And the thing is that I made the point that, well, if we are to use the meaning, if we are to take the meaning of what feminism was, well, that is just simply a modified form of egalitarianism, which, I mostly agree with. However, there's devil in the details there. But basically, just leave people alone. Yeah, just leave people alone. They should have the same rights as others, which, that's what feminism purports itself to be, is just about rights, specifically women's rights. And that would be a cool thing if it were actually true. But the problem here being that that's not what feminism actually is. Feminism has a meaning. Not only does feminism have a meaning, it is a meaning that is quite divorced from what it used to be, which is very common, among a lot of English words used in the here and now, is that they used to mean something. They used to mean something in a relatively recent decade, and they have a completely different meaning now. That'll happen with a lot of modern languages, because, they do evolve. Feminism, of course, has a meaning, and it has a generally accepted meaning. And that generally accepted meaning here now, in hashtag current year 2017, is not for, like, women's rights and all of that other junk that it was in recent decades. I'm all for all that stuff. I'm all for those things for everyone. I'm not up for qualifying it one way or the other. Just give everybody the right and be done with it. My mouth is getting kind of dry. So, and then, that's what makes this story so maddening, the recent one that from last night into this morning, is that not only is there a pattern, but a certain label is being used to obfuscate where the problem actually is. Because, if you're against feminism, then you're against women's rights. And it all comes back to that. And you must be a rapist, or a rape apologist, or somebody who abuses women, if you disagree with what that child abuser said. If you disagree with what that child abuser is doing. It's like, I really, really don't give a crap about what people were born with. I would very much like them to have certain rights. In fact, I'd very much like them to have all the rights that I have. But in turn, I also want to be left the hell alone, which is what most people in this world actually do. But I'm not being left alone when I'm being called a rape apologist for literally no reason than having a penis. And that's the pattern, largely, with them, on a broader scale than just simply the feminist child abuser pattern, is that, because not only is it a weird form of tribalism, but it is also the overarching thing is that feminists want to blame something and want to be able to do very evil things to people for literally no other reason than for those people having penises. You know, I am a man. There's absolutely no reason why I should feel ashamed to be so. And I'm saying that to women and men. You know, if you're a man, you should not be ashamed of being so. If you're a woman, then you should not be ashamed of being so. And you should not be made to feel ashamed for that. I think this video's gone on long enough, but it's not like I'm hardening my heart to anything like Woolly Bumblebee said on Twitter in response to this whole exchange, but I refuse to quiet myself when I'm calling things as I see them. Thing is, I like Woolly and I like Scarecrow actually very much. I like them, but this is not something that I'm gonna be reversing course on. And the reason why is because, well, my eyes see what they see, my ears hear what they hear, and I feel what I feel. It could be that in some later time, now I'm just going to say this quick before I go away, is that it could be in some future time that feminism has a much more positive label and whatnot, and a lot of the bad things fall away from feminism and create their own little tribe. And, okay, I accept the premise of such, but that does not mean that it's happening now. You know, the way that things are in hashtag current day and hashtag current year are not what is being told to me what feminism is, or what feminism is to somebody else. No, it doesn't work like that. But anyway, since I'm not going to be drinking alcohol, here's one to y'all, though. I like y'all. Y'all have a good day.